Hey everyone, welcome to this mini podcast project series where we are going to go down the rabbit hole of ballet and the ballet wallets. For those who don't know, Ballet, which started in 2019, is a US company behind the world's first multi-currency, non-electronic, physical crypto wallet. My name is Eric, and I am part of the marketing team here at Ballet, and I'll be chatting with Ballet's founder and CEO, Bobby Lee, in all things ballet. From how it all started, to the inspiration behind it, from design to inception, what makes it secure and different from hardware wallets, and what the future looks like for ballet and crypto wallets in general. We're excited to bring this story to you all, so sit back and enjoy the conversation we had with Bobby Lee. And we are back for part 7 of the Story Behind Ballet podcast series. The last, but not the final in any of the podcasts for ballet, but the last for this series, talking about the history and the current situation of ballet and everything about it. Back again with Bobby Lee. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, so we've obviously have covered 6 different podcasts talking every aspect, every nook and cranny of ballet. Finally, we are at the end for now of the series. In this series, we're going to be talking about the future of ballet, what you think of ballet going forwards, what you think of the industry going forwards, and some other minutiae. So I am excited again, wants to talk to you.
Yeah, good to be here.
So yeah, let's start it off right off the bat. Going forward for ballet, what would be some upcoming milestones for the company and for the team?
So we're about to, September 12th is in 2019 is when we revealed the product. So it's just been 2 years since we launched Ballet, our marquee wallet, the Rio series Bitcoin wallet, and it's been an amazing journey. This whole startup we started 2.5 years ago with just an idea how to make cold storage wallets easier for normal people and how to bring it to the mass market. And certainly we haven't achieved full success yet, but I think we've made a good dent in the marketplace. Our customers love our products. So down the road, obviously, as a company, we're going to continue building the company. We're looking forward to raising more money this year, planning for later this year. And also, as a venture-backed startup, we're looking, eventually to make it big, either through a going public or getting a acquisition, kind of like that. I think those are the two sort of exits that investors and founders and employees look for in a venture-backed startup. So it's not easy. This road to success for a startup is not easy. In our industry, the shining example is Coinbase, and even for them, it took them 8.5-9 years for them to go public. I think Coinbase started in 2012, and then finally went public earlier this year, April of 2021. So that was a good 9 years, 9 years later. Yeah.
So, like you said before, in the event that Ballet gets acquired, because in your previous startup, BTCC, when that got acquired, you kind of slowly gave the management reins to the acquiring company. So in the event if Ballet gets acquired, would you still see yourself staying on board, or?
That's a great question. Yeah. So what one of the key lessons for me is in the event of acquisition, what they call a change of control. So as you know, prior to Ballet, my last company, BTCC, we actually launched several different custodial wallet services, right? We had the Picasso wallet, the JustPay wallet, and also the Mobi wallet. And those were all custodial wallets. This is very much the thinking of an exchange service provider. And by the way, today there's still a lot of custodial wallet services out there. And after going through the acquisition, where there was a change of control, where there's a new team of people who took over as management, where I stepped off the management day to day, I realized that then the customers all shifted to the new management, and I realized that that's not necessarily great for the customer experience, because the level of service, the level of customer service, the level of features and support that could change. So that's why from the get-go at Ballet, I created this product with a mindset that We want the users to have full and final control, exclusive control of their private keys. So even in an event of a change of control, of an acquisition, or even if the company were to shut down, our users and the customers and people who have entrusted their assets in the Ballet wallets will still retain a 100% control of their assets. Even years later, if the coins go through any forks, splits, and stuff like that, they will still have control over all of the forked coins and splits and so on. So that was a big lesson for me, and that's why I think our users may not realize it today, but this is really something beneficial to them down the road, regardless of what happens to Ballet, the company. Yeah, obviously, it's too early to talk about, IPOs, going public, or even acquisitions. But when the time comes, I hope to do the right thing for our customers, for employees, for the management team, and so on.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of want to touch on that point a little bit more. For the actual Ballet wallet and the Ballet crypto app, and everything about accessing the crypto inside the Ballet wallet, does the security and validity of Ballet wallets depend on the Ballet company being in business?
Oh, that's a great question. So the short answer is no, because the security and validity, the safety of the funds is in the Ballet wallet itself. It's a bearer asset instrument, and it's an open standard, non-proprietary. What that means is we use the Bitcoin industry standard BIP38, and it's an open source standard. And we've already made open source all the extensions to allow it to have the multi-currency support. So anyone with a Ballet wallet years later, even decades later, can freely and essentially retrieve retrieve the private keys and retrieve their assets without any support from Ballet, the company. So even though they can use the Ballet mobile app or desktop app to do it, but they're not obligated to do it. It's not a proprietary standard. So that was a very important concept that we baked into our product design model from the get-go. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Even for myself, I know, and I'll link the website in the description as well, but the open source website tool that Ballet has, balletcrypto.org, a user can actually just save the scripts and the code behind that page, save it on a hard drive on an offline computer, and still run the script, which is what I've done, and which I think a lot of users should do as well.
It's a very techie thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think all users have the ability to do it, the know-how, but certainly they're allowed to do it. Yeah.
Yep. In Miami, in the Bitcoin 2021 conference, you were on a panel talking about onboarding 1 million users for Ballet. When will we see Ballet attain 1 million users or even 1 billion users?
Yeah, this is a great topic. So as of yet, we have not reached 1 million users. I think it's certainly not easy to get our wallets into hands of everyone. But with recently El Salvador, making Bitcoin legal tender, and many other countries, using more and more cryptocurrency services and so on, I think the day will come. I hope to get Ballet wallets into the hands of 1 million users in the coming years. And even you mentioned 1 billion. Absolutely. From the get-go, we think as a hardware wallet maker, as a physical wallet maker for cryptocurrency, I think we're in the unique position to actually deliver on that. I think due to the ease of use and the ready-to-use format, where it's a bearer asset, I think Ballet is probably one of the very, very few companies whose technology can actually get us into the hands of 1 billion people. This is no easy feat, right? Mm-hmm. For a technology to be adopted by 1 billion users, it has to be very well thought out, very easy to use, very easily adopted. So I think we could have a shot at being the first to do that. But obviously, we have a lot of competitors. There's a lot of wallets in our space, both in the hardware wallets as well as mobile hot wallets and so on. And but we're all in some sense we're all competing, but in a different sense we're all pushing crypto forward. So we're on the same mission to bring cryptocurrency to global adoption.
Gotcha. Based on your guesstimates, just out of curiosity, how many users do you think, or how much of the world population right now is a crypto user, is a crypto wallet user?
I think about 50 to 100 million people own cryptocurrency. Maybe more, maybe 100, maybe 200, but certainly I think thereabouts 100 million people own cryptocurrency. But the sad thing is, I believe a large portion of that are still owning cryptocurrency, quote unquote, owning it through another custodian, meaning that they have it stored centrally on an exchange, on a service provider, held with a friend, and so on and so forth. So they don't really own it in the crypto industry language. They think they own it, and they might have illusions they own the cryptocurrency until they find out they really don't have control over it.
Until some kind of nefarious
potentially,
hack happens.
hopefully not. Cross my fingers. Hopefully, everyone who thinks they own crypto gets access to it and can cash out and can move around and sell it or whatever. But I think the hammer has yet to drop, in the sense that I think many people will be surprised that they didn't really own it, or that the custodial service providers, went away, their exchange platforms went away, their accounts get hacked, or they lose their coins. Even today in the NFT world, right? People, this is very sad actually. I think it's great to see the NFT explosion this year, the last few years, especially this summer. But the reality is, for people who own, quote unquote, own the NFTs, who paid so much for the NFTs in auctions and so on, they don't control it. They still leave it on some platform, which can get hacked. Their accounts can get hacked. The platform itself can get hacked. So it's a bit sad that people don't really own the NFTs they think they own. So that's why, out of the 100 million plus crypto owners, I think it's in the low tens or 20 million at most who actually really, really own their own coins.
In the form of self-custody.
Yeah. I think that's a keyword, self-custody.
In the future, the wallet technology and the wallet industry has gone through so much. Obviously in the beginning, it was just basically people downloading Bitcoin Core, as you mentioned before, and saving their private and public keys on the computer. I mean, there's so much different innovations, such as offline hardware wallets, wallets that you can actually now hold multiple currencies. Wallets such as the Ballet wallet that you can actually buy and exchange through the wallet application itself. What kind of new wallet innovations do you see coming out onto the market? And for Ballet, what would be some new innovations or new functions that you would like to see Ballet have? So I guess maybe one example is the increasing usage of Lightning. As we see recently in the news, a lot of places, even in El Salvador, have been accepting Lightning payments and stuff like that.
Yeah, Lightning is a very interesting technology. It's obviously, for payments. The issue from our perspective, as a self-custody wallet, we're a completely offline cold wallet solution. Lightning is maybe inherently incompatible. I've done some research. I've asked my team to look into this. How can we support Lightning on Ballet in one form or the other? So far, we haven't yet found a solution. If someone listening to the podcast thinks of a good solution, please let us know. We'll work towards supporting that. Inherently, Lightning support has to be, because it's sort of like a layer 2 solution. Right now, the solution requires an online component, and that just gets in the way of a lot of things. It becomes, you have to connect your centralized point to clear the transactions and all that. So it's not, Lightning, I remember first hearing about it in 2015, held great promise. I'm personally a bit sad and disappointed that it hasn't caught on, and partly because I think the solution, looking back, it wasn't as elegant, and it just had a lot of high level requirements that's hard to meet. So I'm glad that some merchants in El Salvador support Lightning payments, but the reality is the vast majority of Bitcoin wallets don't support Lightning, right? That's a sad reality. And so we'll see. In terms of Ballet, we're obviously going to bring on more support for DeFi NFTs through Wallet Connect feature. So that's being rolled out in beta testing right now. I think by the time you guys hear this podcast, it could very well have launched on the App Store, Android and iOS. So with Wallet Connect, people can now move their coins freely to DeFi platforms for staking and all that. It is an advanced feature, so I just want to warn people. This is not for your casual investor, right? So you have to know what you're doing if you want to use the Wallet Connect stuff. And with any advanced features, there's more risk of mistakes, and with any mistakes that involve cryptocurrency, you risk losing money and so on and so forth. So obviously, it's a fine balance between offering more advanced features for functionality, yet safeguarding the larger population from pitfalls and mistakes. So we feel like it's a heavy responsibility as a wallet provider.
Speaking of El Salvador, their new wallets, which I think is a government issued wallet, being made available to its citizens for Bitcoin or whatever. I think it's called Chivo, something along the names of that. How do you feel about government issued wallets and that whole notion of government issued wallets?
Yeah, so good point. So I have not used it yet. I read some stories about that. My assumption, and again, I guess I should do more research and find out. My assumption is most likely a custodial wallet. It's most likely a centralized custodial wallet where the service provider holds and manages all the private keys. So it's more of an account relationship where you, the user, would download the app, open an account that's maybe tied to a username or an email address, and then you would send funds to it. It may even have real name identity requirements, and they say they'll give you $30 worth of free Bitcoin, I think. And I think that's the telltale sign that it's a centralized wallet, that it can do something like that. And then, so it brings people to cryptocurrency, but it doesn't give the end users real control, self-custody. So I see the benefits. It makes some things faster and simpler, such as payments. It may have Lightning support and stuff like that because it is a centralized service. But at the same time, it's not the true ethos for cryptocurrency where it's self-custody, have your own private keys and so on and so forth. But it's a step in the right direction. Yeah, it's better than not having a crypto wallet, right?
That's true.
So,
yeah, I mean, considering that it's going to be a government issued wallet, most likely it's a custodial wallet, managed or somehow managed by a government third party. But either way, I mean, there's no doubt that the government's going to be tracking every single Bitcoin movement through the wallet. So, I also wanted to get your opinion on this as well. How do you feel about governments these days wanting to basically track every single Bitcoin movement, every Bitcoin address, if not already?
Yeah, this is a broader topic about control. I think the world we live in, I was born in 1975, and I was born in this world of fiat. I think if you look at human history, it's only in the last 2 centuries where governments have had so much control over people's finances. Imagine the good old days, whether it's the really old days of cavemen, or the hunters and gatherers, or the whatever centuries, when money was gold and silver coins and or even other things of barter or stones and gems and stuff like that. my point is, back then people used whatever commodities they used as money, and there was practically very little government oversight and control. I mean, governments stepped in to mint the coins, but in the end, they don't control who can spend and who can't. Whereas today, with electronics, digital money, and all that, and especially with the advent of central bank digital currencies and so on, I think money has become enslaved by the governments of the world, which allows them the powers for sanctions, for freezing assets, for, money laundering, anti-money laundering laws and stuff like that. Personally, as a promoter and advocate for how do I say this? For liberty, I guess, personal liberty. I think all of that is bad. All of that control is bad, which is why I like Bitcoin so much. It really gives the power of money back to me, back to the people. I think this decade, this century, will see the mark of whether we as human society will shift back the control of money back to the people, back to the owners of the money, right? The proprietors, as opposed to the government who get in the way. It's like power, right? Once the governments have the power to control your money, they benefit from that power. Mm-hmm. They benefit from the power as in they can retain their power, and they also benefit from the power as they can extract a percentage of the flow to enrich themselves. So that's where the conflict of interest is, right? So once the citizens relinquish the power of money over to the governments, it's very hard for the people to get the power of money back, which is why Bitcoin was invented, right? If back in 2008 and the years prior, if money was truly in the control of the people and people didn't have any objections to it, there would have been no need to invent Bitcoin, mm-hmm. right? But the issue was, because money is so centralized, and people wanted a digital version of free money, that's how Bitcoin came about. And Bitcoin wasn't even the first attempt, right?
Yeah, so, I think this topic definitely is a topic worth its own podcast, actually, and it's definitely a very more topic touching the likes of the theories of liberty, philosophy, economics, and society. And you actually touch on this topic quite often in your book, The Promise of Bitcoin, which I think I recently found out today, this book is on the Wall Street Journal Bestselling list. And I read it too. I think it was a great book. It really gave me and anyone else who read it a lot of insights as to how you got into Bitcoin, what were some other things in your life, your history and your family that also influenced your quick understanding of Bitcoin, and also your background as well. What made you want to write this book?
It's a combination of I think I've spoken about this. So all my life I've sort of toyed with the idea, hey, one day I want to write a book, be an author. But in my younger days, it was just a dream or pie in the sky kind of thing. Didn't really know what would I write about. Would it be a novel? Would it be science fiction? Would it be nonfiction, and so on? But after getting into this industry, having gone in early relatively, and after selling BTCC, there was a common theme, which is I still had the passion of sharing the joy of Bitcoin with everyday people. That's why I attend a lot of conferences, go speaking engagements, and really people always come to me, ask me for what are some good resources, reading material on Bitcoin. I'm a big advocate, tell my friends, and people I meet, there's a great investment, and so on and so forth. So I thought, in 2018, after selling the company, I thought, hey, this is a good time. Let me explore writing a book on Bitcoin. So I toyed with the idea, worked on a outline, sort of a condensation of the topics I would give speeches on, right? Talk about freedom of money, and so on and so forth. And then I got in touch with a book agent, who then helped me put together, apparently you have to write a book proposal first. That's where we shop it with publishers and so on. A sample chapter, a description. So it was a fun project. It took longer than I expected. Writing a book is hard, but COVID actually helped out. The COVID year 2020, that's when I had time to really finish it, chapter by chapter by chapter. Yeah. So to answer your question, it was mainly to share with the world my knowledge, my understanding of Bitcoin, why Bitcoin is so amazing. I think it's the future of money, and the subtitle mentions it, how it can work for you, in the sense that how it can bring you value through as an investment, right? It certainly worked well for me, so I think it can work well for the rest of the world as well. And I think the book is a great starting point for a lot of people who are new to the topic. I purposely don't go into a lot of the deep technology algorithms and stuff like that. This is really for the casual audience. So that's my passion, to teach Bitcoin to everyday people.
Yeah, there was one part of the book where it actually was really stuck with me, and I think is a very emblematic part of the story and part of the book that just emphasizes why Bitcoin, the promise of Bitcoin. And that story is about how your parents, when they went from
grandparents, right?
Grandparents. Sorry about that. When your grandparents fled to Hong Kong during the beginning of communist China, they actually sewed gold bars in their clothes, crossing the border, so that whomever the officials or the boarding crossing guards would not notice that they were bringing over some large amounts of money. But that just got me thinking of Bitcoin, right? Obviously, Bitcoin, you can memorize your private key if you have the wherewithal to do that. But do you ever envision a time in the future where a similar situation of a corrupt country state forces its people to leave the country due to some political corruption, having those people sew ballet wallets into their clothes, crossing into a more safer jurisdiction?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, most recently the refugees from Afghanistan, that comes to mind, the evacuation flights and all that stuff. But before we talked about Afghanistan example, my grandparents indeed fled Shanghai to go to Hong Kong in the early 1950, I think. With gold bars. And it talks about two things, right? It's really to understand that back then, there was no notion of international money. Money was localized to a region, to a country. And then when you want to cross over to another country, you couldn't bring that old version of money in any significant way. You couldn't bring that along with you. So gold was sort of the underlying money. And that was a universal money. So gold, physical gold, silver, is a universal money which can be brought from location A to location B. And it was very dense, very heavy, and a small amount can bring a lot of value, which is why they were able to sew it in their clothing and sort of smuggle it right across the borders. Because I think, in any case, either it would be frowned upon or it would be not legal. I didn't know the laws at the time or the taxations at the time, but certainly it's not something you want to openly bring over the border. There's also risk of theft and so on and so forth. So gold was a great bearer asset instrument that had real value, that's recognized all around the world, and they were able to bring it from Shanghai to Hong Kong easily. Fast forward, 70 years later, we have people fleeing Afghanistan with the recent change of control, change of government. And I read the news about all those evacuations and all that. even though I don't have direct evidence, I think to myself, I wonder if any of these people are fleeing with Bitcoin, with cryptocurrency. Now, it may not appear they would own cryptocurrency given their state of economy, given all that. But it's not clear. I think the stories might come out in the coming weeks and months that maybe some Afghani did indeed flee Kabul on those military flights, escaping with Bitcoins. Probably not Ballet wallets. I'd be surprised if they use Ballet wallets, but they can. If they did have it, they could have used Ballet wallets. Probably some other form of wallets and or private key backup seeds and stuff like that. But that's the modern world, right? I think with a string of private keys, with a string of seed phrases, or even with a real stainless steel Ballet wallet card, you could bring out real money across borders, either in a time of peace or in a time of war. Yeah, I think this is the trend of things to come.
Yeah, if a story like that comes out of some Afghani fleeing the country with Bitcoins in the form of a hardware wallet or whatever, I think that'll be obviously the media will be all over that, and I think that'll be just another bull case for why Bitcoin. In 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now, how do you want people to remember the Ballet wallets?
Hopefully by then, Ballet will be pervasive in society, and it will be an equal choice amongst many wallets. The key, hopefully that by then Ballet wallets, the key feature is it's a bearer asset wallet, meaning that it would hold cryptocurrency physically in physical form, bearer asset, and it will be known as something that's very trustworthy, reliable, easy to use, and for great adoption, for gifting and movement of cryptocurrency, off chain, right? I think that's how I envision for Ballet to be known around the world. Yeah.
Gotcha. So before wrapping it up, which I think we've definitely covered a lot over the past 7 podcast series, or over the 7 parts of the Story Behind Ballet podcast series. A personal question for you too. You've been in this business for 10 years. Consistently, you've been very vocal, very successful, very active as well. Are you tired? Because many people, even the people that start working in this crypto industry, within the past year or 2 years, obviously they've come to a realization that crypto does not sleep, right? You always need to be following what's going on, and things move so fast. If you look at a lot of the Bitcoin OGs now, many of them have kind of just faded to the back, just, watching it off from the sidelines and whatnot. But you are still very active, still very vocal. Is Ballet the last leg for you? Are you tired? And what would be next in the crypto business?
That's it's fun. I recently spoke with an OG. I won't mention the name, but I know many of the Bitcoin OGs, obviously. And he told me exactly that. He's sort of taken a back seat. He's step off to the sidelines, spend more time with family, and so on. And I thought, wow, interesting. So you're right. I think more and more we're gonna see the OGs sort of fade into quote unquote retirement, and all the OGs have made a lot of money, from being in the early days, and certainly I think that's gonna be. I think that's gonna happen. I think this year, for me, it's 10 years. For some people, it's 8 years. For some people, it's 11 years. We're gonna see more and more of that. As for myself, I've committed myself to Ballet, to making this company succeed. So it's gonna take a few more years or many more years. So I'm gonna see it to that end. And there will be new people coming in, right? There's a lot of new people coming in already. The current generation DeFi of NFTs, a lot of leadership there. So I think we'll see. Time will tell. Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's definitely very respective of even for myself, seeing you still, even for a lot of people too, seeing you at the conference on the ground, being active, promoting Bitcoin and promoting Ballet, it's something you don't see too often from other Bitcoin OGs. To close it off, the Tesla Cybertruck giveaway. I don't think we've talked about this yet, but tell us more about that and tell us how people can actually win a free Tesla Cybertruck.
Yes, I'm giving away a free Tesla Cybertruck. So I made this promise last year in 2020, in the summer of 2020. At the time Bitcoin was about $10,000, $8,000 or $9,000 or $10,000, and I promised that if Bitcoin were to exceed $40,000 by the end of 2021, this calendar year, then I would give away a free Cybertruck, because that's the price of a Cybertruck, the base model, $39,900. And sure enough, it didn't even take that long. I think within 7 or 8 days into January of 2021, Bitcoin price exceeded $40,000. And then I subsequently announced on Twitter, hey, this is happening for real. I will give away a Cybertruck. So all you have to do is retweet, follow me, be one of my Twitter followers, retweet that message, one of the messages about the Twitter Cybertruck. You do have to be a U.S. resident, and then unfortunately we cannot do the giveaway for people from certain states. I don't remember off the top of my head. There's rules on my Twitter. Go to bobbylee.com, and then there's a blog article about the Cybertruck with full rules and terms and conditions. So I think we're going to select the winner at the end of this year. In December this year, I'm going to pick a winner from my list of followers who have retweeted the message. And then that lucky person, a U.S. resident, will be awarded a Tesla Cybertruck. Now, the only bad news is that Tesla actually officially delayed the Cybertruck for another year. So we thought that it would get launched this year, but it looks like it won't get launched until next year, 2022. So we'll still pick the winner this year, hopefully. And then we'll just have to, the winner, and myself, I'm also waiting for my own Cybertruck order. So we'll wait patiently for Elon Musk and Tesla to deliver the Cybertruck next year. Yeah, awesome. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, awesome.
It's a fun thing. I'm a big fan of Tesla.
Yeah,
and this is for me, it's one of the most anticipated car purchases in my life.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that whoever ends up winning the actual Tesla Cybertruck, I'm sure that that moment will definitely be on the media rounds as well. Exciting. Okay, well, wow, 7 parts, 7 different podcasts talking about all about ballet and the story behind it. It was definitely quite an honor for me to have a conversation with you about it, and we'll see what goes on forward with ballet. So this won't be the last podcast for ballet as well. I'm sure ballet will have other podcasts, but this wraps up the Story Behind Ballet podcast series. So thank you again, Bobby.
Thank you. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Thank you all for listening to the Story Behind Ballet podcast series. We hope you all enjoy listening to what went in starting ballet and the fundamental purpose of the ballet wallet. You can always go back and listen to the other parts of the podcast series if you haven't already by following our YouTube channel. Also, follow us on Twitter @BalletCrypto to catch your chance of winning free giveaways pertaining to these podcasts.